Welcome to the most exciting 7 minutes of your day. This is my oral presentation, and the article I've chosen is Corporal Punishment, Maternal Warmth and Child Adjustment, a longitudinal study in 8 countries. So the relevance of this article and this research is there's quite a fair bit of evidence which would suggest that corporal punishment has a negative effect on child adjustment. So it's seen often and in quite a large meta-analysis of 88 research articles that corporal punishment is seen to increase child aggression and anxiety, along with many other problems. Research has also shown that parental warmth can have a positive effect on child adjustment. So it's been found that both corporal punishment and parental warmth have been found to relate to child adjustment, either positively or negatively. So similar research has been done cross-culturally and indicated that in countries where corporal punishment is seen as normative, there is a less negative effect on child adjustment. So there's levels of anxiety and aggression are less when in countries where punishment is seen as normative. This research indicates the need for the development of a theoretical framework that incorporates both punishment and maternal warmth, rather than focusing on them individually as behaviour management strategies. While there is significant research which suggests the positive effects of parental warmth on child development, little is known about the relationship between punishment and parental warmth. This research aims to expand on the few subsequent studies which suggest the impact of corporal punishment on child adjustment is less in countries where corporal punishment is culturally accepted or seen as normative. The aim of this study was to examine the effect of corporal punishment on child adjustment problems and if maternal warmth from mothers is able to counteract the negative effects of corporal punishment on child adjustment. This study also aimed to look at this cross-culturally. The authors hypothesised that corporal punishment across all countries would increase child adjustment problems and that maternal warmth would decrease child adjustment problems. Participants in this study were children between the ages of 7 and 10 and their mothers, and they were from 8 selected countries: China, Colombia, Italy, Jordan, Kenya and the Philippines, Thailand and the United States. So the sampling focused on the majority ethnic group in each country, and children were included from both private and public schools and from high and low income families. The method was a longitudinal study design, and it was used over 2 years. Using a Likert rating scales, interviews were completed either orally or in questionnaire form by the children and their mothers. So the questionnaires were in the predominant language of each country, and translators who were fluent in the target language and also English met with participants to resolve any issues they may have. Follow-up interviews were administered 1 and 2 years later. The dependent variables were anxiety and aggression, and the independent variables were corporal punishment and maternal warmth. The results from this study show cross-culturally there is a strong association between corporal punishment and the negative effects on child adjustment. So there were increased reports of anxiety and aggression. More authoritarian countries showed less negative effects of corporal punishment. So you can see from this graph here that I've got down below, it shows corporal punishment was found to be significantly more harmful when mothers reported higher levels of maternal warmth. So that's that blue dotty line, and it shows an increase in the anxiety. And so high warmth and low punishment reported levels showed the lowest levels of anxiety in children. Authors' conclusion. So the authors concluded cross-culturally that corporal punishment was not an effective behaviour management strategy for children, and maternal warmth was observed to lower aggression and anxiety. There was a few implications the authors stated. There was a variability of perception of corporal punishment. So that means they found some countries had more authoritarian views and some countries had less authoritarian views. So a test was administered to the 5 countries who from previous research were found to be more authoritarian in their views to test this variability. And it was found that the more authoritarian countries showed less negative effects of corporal punishment. So that is similar to previous research where if corporal punishment is seen as normative, there's less of a negative effect on child adjustment. Clinical implications. Children with different disorders respond differently to parental warmth. So if this was going to be implicated in a clinical setting, children who, for example, the example that this research paper gave with conduct disorder, they respond differently to parental warmth. They're very unemotional, so they don't respond well so it would need to be adjusted for certain disorders. Some children are indifferent to parental discipline. It doesn't really affect them much. Also, the quality of the child-parent relationship is important. If the child and parent have a loving, kind, nurturing relationship, the child might perceive corporal punishment to have less of an effect, and it might give them less anxiety and aggression. Whereas if it's quite a neglectful relationship, the child might perceive that corporal punishment to be worse, and it might have a worse effect on them. And also cross-culturally, the perceptions of parenting. I think if this theoretical framework they're proposing was implemented in a clinical setting, it would have to be different across cultures to take into account, again, that authoritarian viewpoint. So critique, the authors noted limitations, including various cultural differences between countries. So if corporal punishment was seen as normative, children giving socially desirable responses. The study also relied on reports, not observations. There was an attrition bias, so the study reported a 6% loss of participants. And then my own limitations that I found from the study, it only focuses on maternal warmth, not paternal warmth, so only is from the mother's perception and not the father's. No single parents were used in the study either, and I think there'd be quite a big difference if single parents were used. Suggestions for further research would be how corporal punishment is related to societal violence and if this has implications for child adjustment. And if different types of punishments have possible negative side effects on child development and adjustment, such as timeout or ignoring a child, I think corporal punishment is focused on quite a bit, and it'd be interesting to see what the other effects of these other types of punishments used in parenting, if they're negative or positive. Thank you.